Okay, so I am going to quickly go through your next lesson and assignment. So we are looking at 6-2. So this is our second lesson in this unit on volume. So this is where we start to work with fractions. I know you guys have done fractions a little bit already, but we're going to go into this a little bit more and with some more details. So your lesson objectives for this one are: I can determine the volume of a rectangular prism with edge lengths less than 1 unit. So that is where our fractions come in, because they are less than 1 unit. And I can find the volume of prisms with fractional edge lengths by packing them with cubes of appropriate unit fraction edge lengths. So this first page right here, we're looking at calculating volume less than 1 cubic unit. So our first one gives an example. We have 1 unit by 1 unit by 1 unit. So the length is 1 unit, the width is 1 unit, the height is 1 unit. They're multiplying them all together to get 1 unit cubed. So we're going to go through this one right here together. So question number 13 right here is asking us, what is the length? Our length is 1 unit. The width is also 1 unit. And our height is 1/2 of a unit. So now we need to multiply these all together. So we have 1 times 1 times 1/2. 1 times 1 times 1/2 is 1/2 a unit. Remember, that's how you can write it. So that answers our first one. So now our second one, we're going to scroll down here. We're looking at this rectangular prism right here. So question 18 is asking for our length, which is 1/2 of a unit. Our width is 1 unit, and our height is 1 unit. So again, we have 1/2 of a unit times 1 times 1. So now we need to add all, or multiply all of these together. We have 1/2 times 1 times 1. We know everything multiplied by 1 is what it is. So we have 1/2 times 1 times 1, which equals 1/2 unit cubed. Now this one is a little bit different. Our length is 1/2. Our width, right here, sorry, our width is 1 unit. And then our height is 1/2 of a unit. So now we have 1/2 times 1 times 1/2. So we have 1/2 times 1 times 1/2. So remember, we're multiplying across the top. We're multiplying all of our numerators together, and then we're multiplying all of our denominators together. So 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2, we have 4. And then times another 1, we get 1/4 unit cubed. So then our last one, or our next one, sorry, number 9 here. Our length is 1/2 of a unit. Our width is 1/2 a unit. And our height is just 1 unit. So now we have 1/2 multiplied by 1/2 multiplied by 1. So again, we're doing the same thing. We're multiplying our numerators together. So we have 1 times 1 is 1. We're multiplying our denominators together. We have 2 times 2 is 4. Times our 1, we still get 1/4 of a unit cubed. Now we have one more, and these are all 3 fractions. We don't have a whole number anymore. So our length is 1/2 of a unit. our width is 1/2 of a unit, and our height is 1/2 of a unit. We have 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. The 1 times 1 times 1, because we're multiplying all of our numerators together, is 1. 2 times 2 times 2 is, so we have 2 times 2 is 4, times another 2 is 8. So we get 1/8 of a unit cubed. Now, number 11 is saying, how is the volume of a prism related to the length, width, and height of the prism? So I'm going to say the volume of a prism is the same as the product. Remember, we've talked about product a lot. The volume of the prism is the same as the product of the length, width, and height of the prism. Okay, so that's our first page. Now we're going to look at some story problems and looking at packing these with unit cubes. So number 12 says, model a prism with the base to the right and a height of 1/2 of a unit. Use your cubes with 1/2 unit edge lengths as a unit cube. So this is when we split up our cube. So it says 3 halves and 3 halves. So we know we're going to break these up into 3 pieces. So I'm going to draw my lines here. And this one also says 3 halves, so our 3 pieces. So now it says, how many cubes with 1/2 unit edge lengths did it take to make the prism? So we have 3 halves. Each of these is worth 1/2. Let me write that in there. Each of these is 1/2. So how many of those did it take to make this prism? We can count those up. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So our answer here, well, that shifted a little bit, is 9. There were 9 cubes with 1/2 of a unit edge lengths that made this prism. So now it says, what equation can you write to show the volume of these 9 of these cubes? So here we would have, let's see. We'd have 9 times 1. Now it says, what other equation can you write to describe the volume of the 3/2 unit by 3/2 unit by 1/2 unit prism? So this is where we write our formula. So this is where we write our length times our width times our height. So we have 3 halves times 3 halves times 1/2. That is our equation. Now it says, suppose you built a prism on a square base of a 4/3 unit by 4/3 unit with a height of 1/3 unit. If you use a cube with a 1/3 unit edge lengths as a unit cube, how many cubes would it take to form the prism? So this is where we're looking at just these numerators and we're multiplying those numerators together, like this one, where we would have multiplied the 3 by 3 and that's where we got our 9 pieces. So here we're taking our 4 times our 4 to see how many cubes it would take to form this prism. And everyone should know 4 times 4 is 16. So it would take 16 cubes to form this prism with these dimensions. So now it says, what 2 equations could you write to show the volume of the 4/3 unit by 4/3 unit by 1/3 unit prism? And this is where we get the 4/3 times 4/3 times 1/3 over here. That is our equation. So if we solved it, we would have 4 times 4 is 16, times our 1 is still 16, and then 3 times 3 is 9, times another 3 is 27. So our answer is 16/27 units cubed. Our last one here says, what equation could you write to show the volume of a 1/n by 1/n by 1/n unit cube? So here we're looking at the same thing. We have 1 over n times 1 over n times 1 over n, which would equal 1 over n cubed. So that number is going to be cubed or the whole thing will be cubed, but all of our top numerators are 1s. So this is what you are going to do in your assignment, your classwork assignment today, is you will be going through and finding the volume of the prisms with fractions. Remember, you're just taking those 3 units that it gives you and multiplying them all together. Make sure you are double checking your work because a couple people have had just slight mathematical errors. And then make sure you are including your labels. So right here where we have 16/27 units cubed, make sure you're including that units cubed label. Otherwise, you are not getting the full credit because you don't have the correct answer there. So remember, feel free to watch this video as many times as you need. And then if you have any questions, let me know.